So anyway, for a few weeks, I was trying to figure out something to say, something to present here. Some story that has a deep and profound meaning for all you youngsters out there. I thought about maybe relying on all my athletic activities I had over the years to impart some kind of wisdom. But that really seems so trivial. I was at a loss for words, and if you know me, that's a pretty rare thing. But then a couple of weeks ago, I was in Maui, and as I was watching the sun slowly sink into the water by Molokai, the Hawaiian guitarist, for some reason I thought of my dad, because he used to always talk about how the Earth spun on its axis, and in fact, I remembered this time that he took us up on a hill, and my brother and I, and he had an old Rolleiflex camera. I don't know if you know what those were. They had the lens on top. He aimed it at Polaris, which is the North Star, and he held the shutter open for a long time. And then later on, when he developed it, he didn't take it to a store, but he developed it, we saw this beautiful blur of stars surrounding one clear star. And that just fascinated me. And for some reason, when I was there, and I was thinking about that, I went down this rabbit hole trying to find out more about the Earth's orbital mechanics. And I mean, I was spending a couple of days, and as I was kind of getting really engrossed and I was going down this rabbit hole where I would get on, every evening I would get on ChatGPT, and I'd start peppering it with questions about how everything worked. And when it says something, and I would say something back, but it told me I was stupid. But as I was sitting there one time, I realized, I'm in Maui, and yet I'm doing all these mental things, and then it hit me. What my parents really gave me, the most important thing they gave me, was not security or opportunity. They gave me curiosity and a love for learning. Looking back, in fact, love of learning to me simply means, not being reluctant to learn new things. Lately I've learned how to make videos, and I like to get into writing. I write some plays and stuff, and there's always something new to learn, and that just keeps me going. But looking back, I realized my love of learning was not just a way to pleasantly pass the time as I do now, but it kind of accounted for some of my professional success. In 1970, I graduated from grad school and went to work for a company called Burroughs. They were a computer manufacturer. And I remember that I was kind of an oddball because they had a policy, a dress code. You had to wear a tie. That was the only dress code. So being the oddball I was, I wore double knit flared pants, paisley shirt, and disco shoes. I mean, it was the 70s. But what really made me an oddball was there was this machine in the computer room, and I had no idea what it was. And I kept asking my boss about it. He finally just gave me a manual and said, I don't know, just go figure out how to use it. And so all of a sudden I was learning new things that's called machine codes and assembly language. And it turned out that little project never went too well, but what had happened is because I learned that, I eventually went on to write what's called an operating system, a commercially operating system for mini computers, or in those days, I don't know if you remember, the portables were 40-pound compacts. But anyway, that operating system called SuperDOS actually became a commercial success for about a little more than 15 years. And it's all because that one day in the computer room, I decided that I wanted to learn something new. So what's my message? Well, the obvious one is don't be reluctant to try new stuff. I mean, learn a new sport, join a new club, learn bridge or mahjong, or buy a book and find out how Einstein actually came up with the theory of relativity. You know what? Or go to the Hoover Dam and then read about all the obstacles and the challenges they had to come up with to tame that wild Colorado River. I mean, there's so many things that just keep you busy, and you can really get into that. And so if I had to pick one thing to leave for future generations, it would be a love of learning. Skills become outdated, technology, it should change The curiosity can stay with you for the rest of your life. And pass that on. Pass that love of